Welcome to the Behind the Frenzy podcast. We are joined today by Rockford coach Brent Cummings. Brent, thanks for taking time out of practice today to join us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Hope the show's going well and look forward to being on it.
Appreciate that, Brent. First of all, talk about the start of this season. 2-0 start, big wins against Cass Tech and Muskegon. You have to be thrilled with the way the team's playing so far.
Yeah, two great opponents. Something over the summer put our first focus on Cass Tech and knew the caliber of program that they were, what they're about, great coaches, very talented kids. And in terms of getting prepared over the summer, you could feel it. You could feel that intensity and throughout our workouts and level of preparation from coaches. And so that was a good kick start to the season. I was happy to see our kids rise to that occasion, play hard, play fast, and show they can play with that caliber of a team. And then Muskegon, same deal, right? They get coached very well, and those kids do an amazing job of year after year just playing really good football. And so we knew what we were up against. And again, that going to that week 2, that's a whole nother level of preparation, and they did a great job of it.
Coach, so much success in the regular season through the past 4 or 5 years. Haven't lost regular season games since 2019. Can you kind of talk about that success and what do you think has attributed to that?
Well, there's a lot that goes into. I'm proud of the way our program has been on a mission to stick together, to serve kids, and it goes all the way down to our lower levels where we have our youth coordinator does an amazing job of leading a great youth program for our 3rd through 6th graders, and then our middle school coaches have all it's been the same, very similar staff since 2020, and they're building a program at the middle school level and keeping those kids hooked. And then at our freshmen and JV coaches, same thing. Those staffs have stuck together and enjoy each other's company and love to serve kids. And we get the product of that at the varsity level. And we're blessed with good football players. We have good kids that are excited about the game, and kids that just want to show up every day and work.
Brent, Jack Doles here. Quick question for you. When I worked up in Traverse City, Jim Uli was the coach at Traverse City High School the year they won that state championship. And I remember first practice I went out to, they had Mick McCabe's rankings for the season. And they had Traverse City #1 in the state. And Uli showed his kids and then took his lighter and lit it on fire. What kind of things do you do to keep them? I know you got to lift them up, but what do you do to try and keep these guys from, getting a little ahead of themselves and maybe even big-headed at times?
We talk a ton about process, probably, not, throwing flames up and burning stuff. I like that idea. But we really do enjoy this opportunity to be a high school football player and to take one for granted. It's a chance to grow. It's a chance to, when you talk about a team, it's a chance to grow as a team every single day. There's something that we can do to do that. Individually, there's things within, whether it's in the weight room, in the classroom, out on the field, a certain technique. We really preach that and just enjoy that process together, that growth and experience, have those small wins and those successes, and really don't focus on the outcome. I'm proud our kids do that, our coaches do it, and they just show up with a ton of energy. We're not perfect. There's ups and downs, but for the most part, you got a core group of players and coaches that are ready to grow every single day.
Brett, Andy McDonald here. Question for you. Both these first 2 games, you guys got off to really good starts, and the game kind of mellowed out. I feel like you guys almost carried your lead into the end. Is it tough to get people to keep going throughout the game into the second half, that same energy you guys come out with, or what have you seen for the first couple of games?
Well, yeah, we didn't have perfect performance. Came out, like you said, we came out with a ton of energy, and by the way, our kids right away executed their assignments, and things that we definitely have to learn from. At the same time, too, like we talked about, we played against, and kids that were coached well and kids that play hard and keep believing all the way through the entire game, and that's what we're up against. And so more proud of kids for staying the course and taking some lumps and taking a shot from a really good team and then buckling down and finding a way to rally together at the end. We saw that in both games. And that's signs of a good team that sticks together and doesn't point fingers, and that part we're proud of, Coach.
Coach Dean again. OK Red opener, familiar foe with Granville. or arguably say they're the best O2 team in the area, maybe the state. Give me your thoughts about Granville.
100%, you're right. They play two very good opponents, equally as strong as the opponents that we played, and so they are. They're a year after year. They do things right over there. We respect the heck out of what they do, and just such a good conference opponent. Going back and forth every single year, multiple times, and it's something that makes the conference special. That level of competition, and it's something that we're grateful for, and that we have good opponents in our conference. It makes for it just raises everyone's level of preparation and makes for a fun, exciting deal to follow as a fan, and something that just is. Our kids are rising to the occasion. We're excited for it, and it doesn't get any easier moving forward.
You've got 2 weeks of tape to look at from Granville from this season. What concerns you most? Is it their fight or their running game?
All of it. They play some really good team stuff in the running back position. Those kids run hard, they run fast, they block, they do the things that you need to be successful with the offense. On the line, those guys fire off low, they play together, tight ends that do their job, and it's just something that you can see on tape that these kids are doing a phenomenal job with it. Their aggressiveness and things that you gotta get ready to go against a tough T team.
Brent, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate it, and best of luck to you guys this week against Granville.
Thanks, Brent.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
That guy can coach. He can coach, no question about it.
Yeah.
That the Rockford team right now, Mick McCabe has him number 2 in the state. That's probably part of the reason I brought up the whole Jim Uli thing. That was still one of my favorite moments covering high school football. He comes out with that newspaper back then. He just holds it up and he's like, "Look at this! You guys are ranked number 1. You know what I think of that?" He lights it on fire, and all these kids are like, "Whoa!" It's like, that's what this means to me. You want to be number 1, be number 1 at the end of the year, and that Traverse City team went on to win that state championship. And that's one of those things. I learned a lot about Jim Uli from that practice, learned a lot about his team from that practice. It's amazing to go to a Rockford practice and just see how structured and disciplined every little part of that practice is. It's like they practice before they get out there. Right. So that part of the reason they're so good every year is you just see that discipline that starts from when they walk on the field. I'm sure it starts in meetings and film room. You don't waste time. You're here to work, get the job done, and then the results are going to be good on game day. I'm sure he feels a little bit of pressure this year to get them to Ford Field, but you've got some great teams in the state, and you just got to get over that hump. And we saw years ago with a lot of teams, once they finally get over that hump, they're going to be good for a long time. And you heard Brent talk about, the middle schools. That's where these programs are built. They're really good programs. I remember when my son Tommy was playing for Grand Rapids Christian, we would see, you go play Lowell, and Lowell had 3 teams to Grand Rapids Christian's 1. And every one of those teams was winning football games.
Right.
And was running the same system. So these things are built from the bottom up. And, when you go out to a Rockford game, you see about 100 kids on their sideline. It's going to be great football at Rockford for years to come.
Now you talk about their practice and how it looks like they practice. This early in the season, that's probably why they look so good to come out in these games to start the game. Because, how hard can it be? You get all the jitters and everything in these first couple games of the season. They haven't had a problem coming out. They've mellowed out a little bit in the middle, but they've been able to finish out these games, get wins against 2 really good opponents. So I think it says a lot.
Speaking of ranked teams, guys, we have several high school teams from this area ranked in the state of Michigan over the course of the divisions. Byron Center, one of the top teams in Division
2. Right now, we'll go with Mick McCabe's rankings through the show. Yeah. He's got them number 1 in Division 2. He's got them number 3 in the state.
Wow.
And what we saw them do to East Kentwood last week, it was 36-0 at half. Mm-hmm. They came out, Tungate to Lee, Tungate. It was these are they've got a lot of players with a lot of experience that have won a lot of football games and a really good coaching staff. And now we're seeing this is the year that they were built to win in, and so far so good.
Yes, Isaac Lee, special player. I think he had a punt return for a touchdown in that game as well. So, that kid can do it all, and he's getting offers from Grand Valley Fairs right now, but offers could be coming from some higher programs as well.
Yeah, a lot of times you look at a guy like him, and it might be, especially you look at offensive linemen, it might be 1 or 2 more inches, and they'd be Big Ten offers.
Yeah.
And they don't have those 1-2 inches, and suddenly, they're Grand Valley and Ferris and Davenport. Those are still incredibly good football programs to play for. So in this day and age, who knows what openings will be anywhere with NIL. And, there's so many kids hitting that transfer portal. It's a completely different game than from 2015 when we went through it.
Yeah. Byron Sutter headed to Indiana to play Hammond Morton this week. We're seeing a lot of the teams from the area going off and playing out of state off to the east side. What's the reason, you guys think?
I don't get it, because I thought when teams didn't have to have 6 wins, that would open it up to more opponents in state, make it easier to schedule things. But I mean, look at Mona Shores is going to play its 3rd game on the east side of the state this week. And really good opponents. They had a great win last week over River Rouge, and they've shown that they're going to be a really good team down the stretch too. But I don't get it. Muskegon's not playing this week. Can't find an opponent.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's unheard of.
You want to play football. Why are we going to Ohio? Why are we maybe once? But there's so many teams that are going to Ohio and to Indiana and Illinois. I don't get it. It's fun to maybe do it once and experience it. Christian High, when Tommy was there, we got to go play at Moeller. And that was a blast to watch a great game that both teams had a whole bunch of players that were going off on D1 offers. So that was really wildly entertaining. And it was good for the football team. But at some point, how much is too much? And why is this getting so difficult to schedule games?
And I can't think that the off week is going to help Muskegon.
No.
A team that's 0-2, and now they're not playing for 2
They probably
weeks.
want to play right now.
Absolutely.
They have more than anybody else. They want to prove who they are. I mean, they start 0-2 last year, and they ended up making it to the state championship game, winning it. Sure, right now they probably still think they can do that, so I doubt they want to be sitting around waiting on Friday.
Right, they want to
not
get that.
playing.
They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. They want to get going and get a win on their resume.
Yeah.
To kind of springboard them for the rest of the year.
No, absolutely. I mean, these schools going and playing out of state, I'm not sure if it's because one school starts to schedule a bunch of them, so another one feels like they have to a little bit, or what it is that really pushes schools to do that. But it is interesting, that's for sure.
Catholic Central played a team from Canada because another team had pulled out. So, and now this week they're going
Notre Dame Prep.
They're going to Pontiac to play Notre Dame Prep. That'll be a great matchup, 2 2-0 teams. But it's why is Catholic Central? Why is Muskegon? Well, all these teams we're talking about are teams that have been winning a lot lately. So there's a lot of teams that just don't want to play, don't want to potentially lose a game, not get those playoff points. I don't know. I'm not in agreement with that, but I'm also not trying to get my kids into the playoffs.
Right. Zeno West is another team that is ranked pretty high. 2-0 start for the Ducks as well.
Yeah, for sure. They had another good game this weekend. Everything I've seen from them so far this season seems like they're on the right track, like they were a year ago.
Yeah,
Muskegon was the week 1 win.
They've got speed. They can throw a little bit. When you can mix passing, especially with the running game and track speed, you become even more dangerous. And they're going to go to Whitehall this weekend, and I don't foresee them having any trouble there. I have never seen a Shiloh team not ready to play.
Yeah.
And they'll be ready to play.
Go to a place like West Ottawa, it's not the easiest place to play, and they go there and get the job done. So, it was a close game in the first half, but second half they were able to get it done.
Guys, let's look ahead to week 3 spotlight games. Games that we will be spotlighting on the Frenzy on Friday night after the games. Our first game, South Christian, 2-0, goes to West Catholic.
Yeah, and so Danny Brown just named the Detroit Lions High School Football Coach of the Week. We talked a little bit about Carson this last week. But what he do against East Grand Rapids? 4 touchdown passes. He's one of his plays is one of our candidates for the high school football frenzy play of the week. Go to woodtv.com, vote for that.
Yes.
There's 3 candidates. Carson just makes plays with his feet. He makes plays with his head. He makes plays. He's going to go to Western Michigan on a basketball scholarship, but I've got to believe that Western staff has been looking at him and seeing some tape, and they got to go, maybe we should see if he wants to be a dual sport athlete, because he's only played football for about 4 years. He picked it up late.
You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, because right now he looks like the best quarterback I've seen around here in a little while.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who's still learning technique. But boy, he just makes plays.
I mean, they started out down 14-0 in this game, and it didn't faze them at all. And they were able to come back and win that game no problem. And I think towards the end of the game, they needed to put it away and get a first down to end it, and they ended up rolling Carson out to the left, and then he threw back to somebody across to get the first down in the game. I think that shows how much confidence they have in him as a coaching staff to make the right play.
Well, all the players they lost to graduation, we didn't expect much out of them, but here they are 2-0 with a big win over East Grand Rapids, big win over East Grand Rapids, and another big game this week.
I think this just has unique qualities that Danny Brown told us that you can't coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? He has a competitive drive. He wants to win. He's going to do whatever it takes. So I definitely think he could play football as well as basketball at the next level.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
We'll see what happens. West Catholic, a team that was really good last year, lost to Catholic Central in the regionals in the last seconds of the game. I was actually there for that game. I think that was a heartbreaker for them because they felt they had the potential to go back and win their state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Still reload. Thoughts about West Catholic?
No, I mean, Landon Grove, ever since he's taken over that program, has really had them back where they were before. It felt like, back when I was in high school around the 2014 time, like that, they were so good every year. It felt like they were in the state championships. Especially getting back to that level where they can start playing like that every year again. I think Landon's a big part of that and turning it around.
And a big win against Coopersville last week was a little surprising.
Yeah,
they
that
put up 63
that many points, yeah.
against the Coopersville team that kind of prides itself on toughness.
And they've been more
defense.
competitive too in recent years. So
Yeah, and we expected Coopersville to be pretty good, and they still can be, but that was an eye opener there. Just going, okay, West is back.
Yeah,
because they played an out-of-state team in week 1, didn't they? I believe they did.
They lost to a team out of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
20-13.
right.
Yeah.
So they played them tough. And again, Ohio football is really good.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot more recruits coming out of Ohio than Michigan on a yearly basis. There's some really good football there. So, take that first loss, just push it aside. I think West Catholic made a statement last week.
Let's move on. Forest Hills Eastern, an up-and-coming team, had success in the last few years, kind of trying to take that next step. Goes to Uni Christian, who has kind of shaken off the effects of last year's 3-6 season, and it kind of looks like they're back on track.
Yeah, and we'll find out a lot about both these teams here. Forest Hills Eastern, I expected to maybe contend for that conference this year. And they're off to a nice 2-0 start, but now we're going to step up a level in competition, and so this should be a really fun game.
Yeah, for the little bit I was at Unity Christian's game last week, before I get the next one, it was their first 2 of 3 rushing plays went for touchdowns. So they definitely have some power on offense. They can score a lot of points. Got up early in that game, then just kind of coasted to the finish. But I expect nothing less than a good game there.
So Nolan Viss had over 100 yards in his first 3 carries.
Yeah.
They break big plays.
Yeah.
And we've seen when they've got the right personnel that offense puts up tons of points.
Mm-hmm.
And, last year was a tough year, but that's a good program with some really good, talented kids that just know how to win. I mean, every year we're talking about Unity winning soccer and, just multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the hunt. They've been in the hunt with football, had one little down year, and I think we'll find out a lot about Unity. We'll find out a lot about how good Forest Hills Eastern is this week, too.
It will definitely be a test for Forest Hills Eastern's defense.
Mhm.
Only giving up 7 points in each of their first 2 games.
For
So
sure.
the defense obviously stays solid, so that's going to be a test for them.
No doubt.
Last game, Constantine at Schoolcraft, a battle of 2-0 teams in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Yeah, and these are 2 programs that are consistently making deep runs to Ford Field and before that the Silverdome. So these are just blue blood programs, really, from the Southwest side here. And that'll be fun to watch. And I think whichever one of these teams wins this game, it's a little crossover in the SMAC. And so whatever one wins this game, it's going to be like, look out, that team's going deep.
Right.
Constantine's offense, 114 points through the first 2 weeks of the season. They've outscored their opponents 114-14. So a pretty
Got
good
them by
start.
100, so that's not doing
A
too
pretty
bad.
good start for that team.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be a 50-point game this week. I
No.
promise you. That'll be a good, well-contested, well-coached game, and it'll be fun to see how this one plays out. It was, for me, it was between that one and the Rockford Granville. And the Rockford Granville would be a no-doubter for a spotlight game, but we've spotlighted them the first 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll spotlight Rockford many more times. And it had nothing to do with Granville's 0-2 record.
Right.
Because they may be 0-2, but they're not an 0-2 kind of team.
That's very true.
I really think Granville has a shot this week. They need a break to go their way, and they can't fall behind early.
And yes, they have to get stops on defense, and that's one thing Granville has struggled with. They're
Mhm.
giving up 53 points and 41 points to Davison last week.
Yeah.
They have to get stops on defense. And Rockford's offense has shown signs of not performing at its best at times, the ups and downs of a game. So Rockford's going to have to play some good defense
Yeah.
as well.
It's also first 2 weeks of a season. We've seen
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
teams in the NFL. Just there's growing pains for every team,
Yeah.
and Granville defensively is trying to figure it out. This isn't a good week to try and figure it out, but you got to figure it out. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just play better when you know you have to, because 0-2 is one thing, 0-3 is a bigger hole.
Yeah.
That's where you just can't make any more mistakes.
They have
Can't
to
have
make
any
their backs
bad
against
luck.
the wall right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to.
Well, guys, thanks again for joining me. Thank you for joining us with the Behind the Frenzy. Please tune into Wood TV, Football Frenzy Friday night for all the highlights from
21.
21 games this week. So, until next week.